reporting a fall in Chinese loans, and that fall seemingly pushing the president and his new administration to look at the IMF and the World Bank. And we have seen a number of things that have been compared to that. Chinese loans dwindling. We're seeing the new university funding proposals by the government that we saw yesterday. The president cutting down on new projects, and of course stopping of subsidies, something that has not gone down very well with the opposition. Prof. Ogola, let me begin with you. What do you make of this? Is it a big deal, or is it normal given the global economic circumstances?
First of all, let me state that the global economic circumstances on a meeting that took place, they call it a spring meeting that took place in Washington, stated that the global economy is not performing well generally, and Africa was having so many challenges. But that notwithstanding, there are some countries in Africa that are doing very well. And Kenya is expected to be doing well, if you like, given the economic parameters which were there. I was looking at the Nation of today that was talking about the issues of how different sectors perform in terms of growth. And there was some misreporting there because no one was talking about the issue of COVID, that the COVID year made the economy shrink. Now the growth rate that took place in the other years, you cannot just compare without not acknowledging the issue of COVID-19. But nevertheless, there should be a point of concern because, look, the Eurobond that was being done by the Kenya Kwanza government did not perform. And for me, it all boils down to one thing: trust. You know, economy then is very emotional. Economy is emotional because, like now, when you hear those messages, people are saying that economies are warning, everybody else wants to see if economies are warning, why do we put our money to an economy where there's warnings? And these warnings started coming from the current Kenya Kwanza government. The day they were sworn in, they started warning us. They told us that it is a dilapidated economy. Then they're telling you they want you to invest in this economy. Is your very words that you want to hit at the former administration, at the same time you want to bring what is called trust into the economy. When you hear this word, which was used during the global financial crisis, it was called credit crunch. Now, as a professor, credit normally means trust that you can. So when credit crunch means there's a collapse in trust. So there was a collapse in trust in the global economy. That's why the economy was crumbling. And Kenya has been a victim of a cause of its own suffering by starting to say, we are doing very badly. All these things we are reporting, and actually people just say them. When someone says these things, they actually start to affect people. So there's a good need to concern. For me, the first step, because we're not here to cry, is that we have to breathe fresh air in this economy, remove austerity measures into this economy, and bring stimulus measures in this economy. What is a stimulus measure? A stimulus measure is whereby a government can increase investment in the public sector or spending in the public sector that can spur even the activities in the private sector, and therefore economy gets more confident, people start doing business. But even when you are hearing all the time, for example, universities, you are a professor, they are hearing, we are cutting training. So if you hear, when you're a professor and you train and you hear that we are cutting training, we are cutting on this, we are cutting on that, you're just hearing cut austerity measures. And then let me tell you what, I'm an economist. I believe that a government should spend to the point of getting a budget deficit if everybody must get basic necessities. Anytime nobody is getting basic necessities, the economy will suffer. This is an economic imperative.
All right.
So what I'm trying to say for them for now is that the government need to breathe fresh air in the economy, breathe some air of trust, out of trust. But the Chinese, between the Chinese and the West, these are just geopolitics. It does not matter where the money is coming from, because even the Chinese have debt. Remember, Kenyan debt to GDP is around 75%. The US is 275%. So the issue of the debt is not the issue. The issue is that in which currency is the debt sitting? Do you know why the US with the 275% of debt is not hurting them? Because their debt sits on $1. For us, our debt sits on we take in debt, we have to collect in Kenya shillings and pay into dollars, and that FX cost is causing a lot of instability.
All right.
And now with the foreign currency not doing very well against us in Kenya, we have more risks just because of that. But the issue of 75%, while IMF is right by saying we are performing well, the economic indicators on that is well. But the point is, at what cost are we doing well? That is the most important thing. The cost of which, these loans is very high.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF Managing Director, Kristalina Giorgio